Aye aye, shepherd's pie. Greetings from the Philippines. Welcome back to the channel for a walk and a talk. Haven't done one of them for a while, so I thought I would do one today, and I would take the opportunity to confront the 500-pound gorilla in the room. That is Thailand. Because I'll wait till these scooters go by. Because ever since I moved to the Philippines and I started this channel, I have had the accusation levelled against me, the suggestion made. I'm going to get wet now. How am I going to navigate that? With great difficulty is the answer. Bit of water never hurt anyone. So yeah, ever since I started the channel, I have had the accusation, do you call it an accusation? The suggestion, the opinion muted, that I have made a mistake moving to the Philippines. That I should have stayed in Thailand, that Thailand is so much better than the Philippines, that basically I made a mistake moving here. The hypothesis has been floated that I'm in denial and that I don't realise how much I miss Thailand and how much better it is. But one day I will. One day I will see the light and I will return to Thailand. And having just returned from Thailand, I have come to a couple of conclusions. Because before I went back there, you've got to look at these things, you've got to think, you've got to reflect. And I listen to people's comments, I take them on board. And when people say I'm in denial, I think, well, maybe I am. Because if I was in denial in the true sense, I wouldn't know I was, would I? Because I'm in denial. You know, subconsciously I know that Thailand is the better option, but consciously I'm trying to convince myself otherwise. And I did wonder why I didn't have an urge to go back to Thailand. Because if it hadn't been for Ellen, we wouldn't have taken this trip. So I thought maybe it's because deep down inside I know when I go back there, I'll realise how much I love the place and I won't want to come back to the Philippines. And to be fair, having gone back and seen it, it has answered to me the questions whether I am in denial or not. And it has allowed me to come to a firm conclusion, which I'm about to talk about. Now, before I do this, I just want to give you a trigger warning, because I am quite certain this video is going to upset a few people. Because for some reason, never been able to work it out why, talking about Thailand and Philippines in comparison is incredibly emotive. Seems there are a number of people who firmly believe that you can't be in both camps, that you have to be in the Thailand camp or the Philippines camp. You can't have a foot in both camps, you can't like both places. And I always have had a foot in both camps. So as I say, if this video upsets you, then I won't say I apologise, because I'm just sharing my thoughts. I will say it's not my intention to wind anyone up, it's not my intention to upset anyone. And if it does upset you, I strongly suggest you give your head a good wobble and ask yourself why. So, having returned to Thailand, having had 8 fantastic nights there, 9 wonderful days, I have firmly come to the conclusion that I prefer the Philippines. And I would go as far as to say, much prefer the Philippines. And I can now say, with a total degree of certainty, I did not make a mistake coming to the Philippines. Quite the contrary. It is one of the best things that I have ever done. Now, I don't think I can be clearer than that. And it took my return to Thailand to realise that. Now, what I'm about to talk about now is purely personal for me. It's my opinions, it's my experiences, it's my thoughts. I am not for 1 second championing the Philippines over Thailand. I am not saying, you know, the Philippines is better than Thailand. I mean, I'm going to make up a statistic now. I'd probably say for 75–80% of people that go there, Thailand is the better option. If I had to write a list of the positives of Thailand versus the positives of the Philippines, the list of ticks would be considerably bigger for Thailand. You know, the infrastructure, the culture, the food, you know, the list would be endless. But still prefer my life in the Philippines. And as I say, this trip back made me realise that, because the Philippines is a very challenging place to live. I accept that. But once you've overcome those challenges, and it took me a long time to do so, that's why I always said I would give it 2 years in the Philippines. Because I've learnt from my expat experiences, you need to give a place time. The places you fall in love with straight away, in a short, like I did in Sikihor, within a few months' time, you can turn to hate the place. And the places you dislike grow on you in time. And that is what has happened to me in the Philippines. Now, that is not to say we didn't have a fantastic time in Thailand. It was a great holiday. And that's what Thailand will be for me going forward. A holiday destination. Because there was so much we were able to do there that we just can't do in the Philippines. But the reality is, having spent time, it's like they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And it's worked both ways for me. Absence did make the heart grow fonder. I did have great memories of Thailand. And I think I remembered it a bit with the rose-tinted spectacles. And being away from the Philippines made me realise how happy I am in the Philippines. Because the thing about Pattaya, and I say I'm not trying to upset anyone, if you live in Pattaya, great. If it's the place for you, then fantastic. But the reality is, it's a cutthroat city. It really is. It takes a certain kind of expat to thrive there. And that kind of expat is not me. Because, got to remember, I only lived there for about 6 months before I moved up to Petrorum, which is where I was a lot happier. I had forgotten how cutthroat it is. I had forgotten that you have to be on your guard all the time. That virtually everyone there is out to scam you. Because they are. The city is full of sharks. And if you're not wise to that, those sharks will soon eat you alive. I mean, the reality is, and I'm not making any moral judgments here, I'm really not. But the expats that thrive there, the expats that live there, the vast majority are there for one reason: the women. I mean, that is just a fact. It's an irrefutable fact. Or some, you know, if you're that way inclined, will be there for the boys, the men, because obviously you've got some large areas that cater for that as well. But the point is, that is the driving factor of being there. And that can be attractive to a lot of expats. But if you're not that way inclined, if that's not your primary motivation, it's not necessarily the place for you. It's certainly not the place for me. And even if you are that way inclined, unless you can be ruthless, unless you can be hard, basically, you'll soon come unstuck there. And I hated that about the place when I lived there. I hated the fact that when you got talking to someone, you were always looking for an angle. And that was with the expats and with the bar girls or whatever, you know. They're going to want a drink in a minute, or they're after this, or they're going to want to borrow money, or that guy's going to want me to invest in something, or, you know. But don't get me wrong, I had some friends there. I had some quite good friends there. Obviously not great, because I haven't kept in touch with them. But some decent friends there, and we'd go out and have fun from time to time. But the trouble is, we were very different people. Their motivation was continually women orientated. You'd go out for a couple of beers on the premise that you were going to play pool or darts or something like that, and within a few drinks it's like, which go-go bar are we going to, which gentleman's club. You know, it wasn't for me. That's not what, you know what I mean. I like to go out and drink and chat and sit in a bar. I don't want to go down go-go bars and gentlemen's clubs and all that 24/7. That's just not my thing. As I say, I am not making any moral judgments. If that's your thing, then as long as you can be quite tough and, you know, keep your guard up at all times, protect yourself at all times, then it is a fantastic place to live in Pattaya, if that's you. But it's not me. And it's hard to be friends with people, real friendships, when you've got very little in common. And as I say, that was the reality of the people that lived there. And there was always drama. There would always be, this girl's ripped this guy off, or this guy's done that, and this women hate him because of this, and there's always someone running out of money. Suicide rates are through the roof in Pattaya. It just was not for me. Yeah, they've got some fantastic restaurants there. You've got some great places there. You've got some great nightlife. You've got all of those things. Which is why I say we'll go back there again for a holiday. But not to live. Couldn't do it. It's to say, I got talking to a couple of expats in bars. Nice guys. You know, we were chatting about how it changed and all that, etc, etc. And every time within a few minutes it's like, oh, there's a great brothel down here and there's this, and you should go to that go-go bar. And even when you say to them that's not really my thing, they don't take it on board. They can't understand that it's not someone's thing a lot of the time. And it's not like that in Dumaguete. And when I say it's not like that, I mean, and I'm not being a prude here, you know what I mean? I'm honestly not. Anyone who knows me will know that I am not. And I don't judge people in that respect. What I'm saying is, it's like, you know, to me, what I love about Dumaguete, and I'm not saying for 1 second there's the same level of nightlife. Of course it doesn't. It doesn't have the same level of restaurants. You know, in terms of entertainment and nightlife and food and all the rest of it, Dumaguete is not a patch on Pattaya or Thailand in general. It's just not. I mean, that's the reality. Anyone who argues that it is, I think, is, I wouldn't say in denial, they're probably delusional. But what I love about Dumaguete is I can go out, I can have a few drinks. If I get talking to the bar staff, it's because they want to talk to me. You know, they're not looking to borrow money or to have a drink or to try and con me or to try and set me up with someone. The expats here, I can chat to them, and the ones I talk to, we've got things in common. We have shared interests. They have not got one-track minds that revolve around. Well, you know it revolves around them. Let's call it how it is. The expats are really sexpats in Pattaya. I say, I make no judgment about that. You know, up to them. I have no problem with that. No problem with someone being a bar girl. Not making a moral judgment here. Just saying, I realised after a while in Pattaya, it was just not the place for me, for the reasons I've just stated. Which is why I moved up to Phetchabun. And I had a fantastic time in Phetchabun. It was my happiest 5 years. It was a bit challenging at first, trying to learn the language, etc. But it was exciting. It was great. And I really enjoyed it there. And if it hadn't been for the way things had turned out, I might still be there. But having been back to Thailand this time, I don't think I would still be there. And when I moved to Buriram, it wasn't for me, but I gave it 2 years. And at the 2-year point, I realised, no, it's not for me. It's not ever going to grow on me like Phetchabun, which is why I ended up in the Philippines. But I did think when I went back this trip, there was a chance. I knew I wouldn't want to move back to Pattaya, but I thought maybe I will, once I've tasted the food, once I've experienced the culture again, once I've got talking back in Thai to people and, you know, enjoying talking to Thais and interacting, I'm going to get the bug. I'm going to want to move back to, not Phetchabun, but somewhere like Phetchabun. Maybe Pitsanulo, somewhere like that. But it didn't happen. Didn't happen. When I ate the food I'd been craving, you know, I've been craving massaman curry. I've been craving Panang curry. I've been craving authentic pad kapow moo and tom yum goong, all my favourite dishes. And when I had them, they were great. But it didn't have the same magic as the first time I tried them, when everything was new and all the foods were new and they were all new experiences. Because when I first moved to Thailand, I thought it was all, you know, I'd been to a couple of Thai restaurants and I thought the extent of Thai food was like yellow and green curry. And it blew me away how much better the food was than I thought. And Thai food is my favourite food. Always used to be Indian, but now it's Thai. But it wasn't the same. For me, Thailand has lost its magic. It is a magical place, don't get me wrong, but it's lost its magic. There's no way to say that. And I say, enough magic to want to live there. Because although I had a great time in the mountains, I had a great time living in the provinces, whatever you want to call it, the reality is, it was lonely at times. There were times when I missed being able to talk to other expats, being able to speak English. Because the reality is no one in my village really spoke English, apart from a girlfriend and a couple of ex-bar girls, and that wasn't great, and you couldn't talk to them about politics and films and things like that. Which is why I'm so happy in Dumaguete, because to me, it provides a perfect balance. I mean, look at me now. I am out in beautiful countryside. I am living a province life in the sense I can wander around, enjoy the nature. I'm away from it all, you know, not bothered by people, which is great. But as many nights a week or days a week I want to, I can jump on my little scooter and I can head into the city and I can socialise with expats. And I can socialise with expats who aren't going to bother me with their drama, aren't just going to bang on about women and blowjobs and all the things they've done that week, etc, etc. And it's nice. I don't have to be on my guard here. I don't have to be thinking, what's their angle, what are they looking for, etc, etc. And to me, that's important. To me, that outweighs the positives of Thailand. I would rather have that relaxed comfort. The idea of feeling, I don't know, safe's not a strong word, too strong a word, just, I can't really explain it. I think you know what I'm saying, but that's personal to me. Of course it would be nice to have the infrastructure they got in Thailand. Of course it would be nice to have better internet. Of course it would be nice not to have brownouts. But now I know I'm planning to stay here longer term, we started taking care of that. You know, we've got a UPS. We had a brownout this morning. Well, wasn't a problem. UPS kept the internet up. We've got a couple of power stations now, can plug the fans in, etc. You know, we've got a generator coming down from Ellen's place. So, you know, these things, they will cease to be a problem very shortly, the brownouts. Well, they cease to be a problem today. You know, people will bang on about the infrastructure being so much better in Thailand and here in terms of the roads and all the rest of it and that. But it's an irrelevance to me, really, to be honest with you. You know, doesn't really matter how fast the internet is in Bangkok. I'm living here. All that really matters to me is that the roads are okay, that I can get in and out of the city, which I can do. You know, and the places I like to go are open and the people I like to meet with and socialise are there. Because honestly, I tell you now, I have better friends in terms of expats and people to socialise with in the Philippines, in Dumaguete, than I have had anywhere else I've lived in the world. And to me, that's important, that you have people you can trust, people you can rely on. And my God, you never had that in Pattaya. You know, I never needed a support structure there, but I've seen so many people go under, run out of money, end up living on the streets and the beach, etc, etc. You know, it happens over there. But you know, drama, you don't see that here, and that is so comforting not to see that here in terms of the expat community. So I mean, but that is the reality of the situation. I don't know what to say, fellas. That is genuinely the way I feel. And I will say at this moment in time, because it may be in a few years' time, I change my mind, you know. But I can't see it happening. And that is what has surprised me about going back more than anything. Because I've said many times on the channel, people never believe me. A lot of people, well, some do, but I always get the things, you know, you're fooling yourself, etc, etc. And I will still get some of those comments now. And I will get some people say, the Philippines is this, the Philippines is that, etc, etc. Fine, write what you want. But don't conclude you know me better than I know myself. Because it's highly unlikely that you do. So what was I saying before I got sidetracked then? Basically, I had always envisaged that I would spend several years away from Thailand, that I would go to the Philippines, give it 2 years. If I didn't like it after 2 years, and we were only 1 month off the 2-year mark, I came here on the 2nd of September 2 years ago, I would go to Colombia next, or Vietnam, and have a couple of years in those two countries. And then my plan was always, when I reached a certain age, I go back to Thailand, because the healthcare is superior and all the rest of it. And I never envisaged ending my days anywhere outside of Thailand. That was always going to be where I ended up. Now, can't see it happening. Cannot see it happening. No desire to move back there and live there long term. Certainly intend to go there for a holiday at least once a year, maybe a couple of times a year. I mean, we really enjoyed the holiday. It's not because I had a negative experience there at all. Didn't. Loved it. Don't think go back to Pattaya again. Definitely have a few nights in Bangkok, but probably go up to Chiang Mai next time or something like that. Maybe Pattaya, I don't know. But yeah, those are my views. And as I say, if it upsets you, it's gonna, you know, look in the mirror and ask yourself why. You know, I'm not trying, I've said many times, so you, at the risk of sounding repetitive, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm not trying to convince anyone to come to the Philippines. The Philippines is not for everyone. Anyone who says it's not challenging over here is being disingenuous. In fact, they're being a liar. It can be very difficult to come to terms with the Philippines, but I do feel I have done now. And I like the fact, to be honest with you, that the things that used to bother me a lot don't bother me anymore. Because Philippines has made me a lot more laid back. Don't get me wrong, I still get stressed about things from time to time. And I make videos highlighting the problems here. People will call me a whinging pom and I'm complaining about this. Well, I don't see it that way. You can see it that way if you like. To me, I'm highlighting some of the issues here. I'm making people aware of the problems. But the fact I've stayed here as long as I have, the fact I have no intentions on leaving anytime soon, the fact I'm planning for a longer term future here tells you, to me, or should tell you, the pros far outweigh the cons. And that's the way I see it, chaps. And I'm happy I see it that way. It's nice. I mean, don't be annoyed. If you like the channel, if you're a follower, be happy that I have found my nirvana. But I say it's not perfect. Nowhere is perfect. If there was a perfect place in the world, it would cost billions to live there because everyone wanted to live there. And you couldn't. But there is no one place that's perfect. The size of those cows. Huge. Anyway, there you go. So, yeah, it has been an eye-opener to me. It has, really glad we took the trip back. Had a great time, but it has made me, being away, you know, it's the first holiday ever in my life I was glad to come back. In the sense that, don't get me wrong, the last couple of nights I'm thinking, God, I wish we were a bit longer, I wish we were a bit longer. But when it actually was the day to go back, I thought, I'm looking forward to getting back. I am. And when we landed in Manila, I thought, can't wait to get back to Dumaguete. Never felt that ever before. Going back to England, God, you'd be depressed. You know, I want to get back to Thailand. Why am I here? I've got to visit the family. I've got to do this, but God, I want to get back to Thailand. No, I'm very happy. And there you go. I've gone on a bit. I'm sure some of you won't believe it. I'm sure there will be some all wagging, oh, you're still kidding yourself, and there'll be people, oh, Philippines is full of this, full of that, full of that. You know, if I'm in denial, ask yourself why you are so firmly entrenched in this camp that there can be nothing positive about the Philippines. Because I'm not that unusual, I'm telling you now. Obviously, the vast majority of people, expat-wise, prefer Thailand because so many more millions go there. But the fact that there are so many expats in Dumaguete, the fact that there are, I don't know, 5-6 million expats live in the Philippines, must tell you, for some people, the Philippines is the better option. And people say, oh, it's just for people who've got no money, can't afford to live in Thailand. Bullshit. There will be some that live here because it's a bit cheaper. But the vast majority, no, they're here because they like it, they're here because they're married to a Filipino, they've got a girlfriend, etc, etc. Anyway, I said my piece now. I'm just going to do one little thing to plug Facebook. We started a group on there, Speaking of Asia Facebook group. Only a few of us, select band at the moment, but anyone who watches the channel wants to join, just get yourself over to Facebook and join the Facebook group. You'll all be very welcome. Anyway, that's me done. I've said my piece. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed, it would make an old man very happy if you did. But whether you do, whether you don't, whether you are, whatever you're doing, stay safe, be lucky.